prophecy just came to mind. Keep that nigger boy running. After studying the Brotherhood ideology for many months, in chapter 17, the committee votes to appoint him as a chief spokesman for the Harlem district, where he will have to own his own office. He meets Todd Clifton, a black member of the executive committee, who informs him that Ras the Exhorter is the main opponent of the Brotherhood in the Harlem. Remember Ras the Exhorter, right? The first person the narrator came across when he first came from New York. So we move further. So on the day the Brotherhood holds a rally to protest against the racist eviction policies in the Harlem, Ras and his followers disrupt the rally, which ends with fierce fight. Ras pulls out a knife but spares Clifton because of his common skin color with him. He asks Clifton why he joins the Brotherhood that has black members in minority. This Brotherhood had majority of white members and few of black members, and they claim that their aim is to help uphold the black in the community. Do you understand? But Ras the Exhorter says no, that he wants total elimination of the whites in the Harlem. Are you saying that? So the reason why Clifton as a person was spared was because he was a black. Ras the Exhorter, though, accuses him of neglecting his black heritage. The narrator, on seeing this, calls the Harlem community leader to support the protest against unfair eviction. This makes the narrator very popular in the community. He organizes the marches, the rallies. However, he never forgets the person in the likes of Dr. Bledsoe, Brockway, and his grandfather. Dr. Bledsoe, letter of recommendation which was fake, Brockway, which made an electric gadget blew on him, and his grandfather's advice, which says keep that nigger boy running. All those words still haunted him. However, in chapter 18, with the popularity or the growing fame of the narrator, he received an anonymous letter by an unknown person telling him, hey nigga, do not go too far. And he should know that he is still a black man in a white world. He inquires from the black member of the Brotherhood whether anyone in the organization dislikes him. The fellow black man named Tap assures him that everybody in the Brotherhood loves him and there is no hatred. Now, the only hatred or the only person who could have written that thing was Pearly from outside the Brotherhood Harlem. Mr. Tap told him a story of his 19 years in Brotherhood, and that all they know is a block of chain of peaceful white and black living in harmony. During this lecture by Brother Tap to the narrator, Brother Westrum was also a magazine editor. Somehow visited the narrator for an interview because now he's famous. But instead of the narrator accepting the interview, he tells the editor to why not go and visit or interview Mr. Clifton. With much conviction, the narrator agrees to be interviewed before Brother Westrum left. 2 weeks later, Westrum, who was there, accuses the narrator of using the Brotherhood as a platform to champion his own personal ambition, using the magazine interview as an evidence. Remember that Mr. Westrum was actually there when the narrator was vividly saying no, let them go and interview Brother Clifton. But he saw the way he was being persuaded to accept the interview, and now he went to his back to tell the Brotherhood that the narrator is using the Brotherhood as a platform to promote himself. Are you saying that? The community, on the other hand, finds the narrator's story innocent. Being disappointed, the narrator takes his new assignment with dedication, though he still went downtown. Chapter 19. The narrator first lecture as a woman's rights activist makes a white woman to invite him into her home to discuss the Brotherhood ideology. She turns out to be a woman whose aim is to seduce him. The narrator, on the other hand, fell prey because he actually slept with the woman. The woman's husband, on the other hand, returned but didn't get the both of them together. Somehow, in the morning, the narrator escapes and vows not to get himself into such a mess. What if it was a test from the Brotherhood clan? Could it be that he has failed the test? The Brotherhood informs the narrator that he will be transferred back to the Harlem because the Brotherhood have lost popularity since his transfer. That means the narrator actually made the Brotherhood popular among the blacks, that some blacks started accepting the Brotherhood in a way. But since they transferred him downtown, they started losing popularity. Living with this, they wrote him a letter to quickly come back because Vance the Exalter was gaining larger followers. Before his resumption, Jack invites him for a strategic meeting. So now we are going to chapter 20. In a bar where the narrator went to with brother Jack, he found two men who he recognized as a former Brotherhood member who he has listened to their speech while he was still with them. Greeting them as brothers, the men reacted very hostile. The narrator discovers that most jobs that the Brotherhood procured had all of a sudden disappeared. Wow. Also, the narrator realizes that the membership of the Brotherhood Harlem is reducing due to the change of Brotherhood emphasis from the local concern to national and international. Wow. Somehow, he still decided to wait for brother Jack at the point or at the place of a strategic meeting. When he realizes that the meeting has long been holding, the strategic meeting has been holding and has been in progress without anyone informing him, he finds out that some members wants to remove him. Wow. The narrator feels betrayed when he sees Clifton peddling dolls in the street. What was happening? That was what was just going through his mind. The doll is an American symbol of Sambol. Sambol, a kind of doll that Mr. Clifton, Mr. Clifton was peddling, represented a lazy, irresponsible but a loyal black slave. So now Mr. Clifton, a high-ranked member of Brotherhood, was selling this kind of doll on the road. Somehow, Clifton knows that he's not allowed to sell his doll on the street, and upon catching a sight of the policeman, he quickly hides the doll in the briefcase. Later, the narrator sees Clifton surrendered by the policeman and he is shot to death. Wow. The narrator is shocked at the way everything happened all of a sudden. In just his few weeks of leaving the Harlem to serve his punishment downtown. And in his very front, Mr. Clifton, who is a noble man of the Brother Harlem, was shot in his very front. So, chapter 21. The narrator comes back to the Harlem with a confused mind, haunted by the memory of a whole Brother Clifton's death and the black doll. Staring at the doll in his office, a group of weeping young brothers comes asking him if Mr. Clifton was dead. The narrator answers them yes, as he tries to call the headquarters of Brotherhood to gain instructions of what to be done with Mr. Clifton's body. With no response from anybody, he organizes a funeral march for Clifton and notifies the community church of the burial of Clifton's untimely and unnecessary death in the hands of the policemen. The funeral mass stirs up the community in anger. The narrator delivers a sobering speech to the angry crowd. At the end of his speech, he senses a heavy tension in the crowd and hopes that the members of the Brotherhood will control the tension to retain their influence in the Harlem or community. As time goes on, the narrator meets brother Jack and some community members of the Brotherhood in his office. They are very angry with him because he has associated himself with non-Brotherhood. They also accused him of the protest of Todd Clifton's death without getting any approval from the community or the committee. But remember that he called the headquarters, but none of them responded before he went with the burial arrangements. Jack, on the other hand, Mr. Jack, on the other hand, reminds the narrator angrily that he is asked to talk in the Brotherhood only when he is asked told to. He doesn't just go about gaining popularity for himself. It was now that it dawned on the narrator that Mr. Clifton was taken as a traitor to the organization. They also kick against his anti-Negro dolls that he displays and wonders why he deserves the eulogy that the narrator gives him. The narrator, hearing these accusations, informs Brother Jack and his group that the black community as a whole has accused the Brotherhood for its self-betrayal. That means the Brotherhood, which looks as if they want to create a balanced ground between the white and the black, the general community is now seeing them as a betrayal. He also accuses Brother Jack of trying to be a great white father. In the course of this argument, one of Jack's artificial eyes falls into a drinking glass on the narrator's table, which he says that which then he tells Brother Jack tells him that he has lost one of his eyes while sacrificing for the loyalty of the Brotherhood ideals. Before Jack leaves, he asks the narrator to see Brother Hambro in order to learn the Brotherhood new agenda. Wait, so Brother Jack has been blind all this while. This blindness actually symbolizes something. Let's hold on. Remember the Reverend Father, which told a story of the how the founder of the college came about, was also a blind man, a white blind father, Reverend Homer. And now Brother Jack, which has been leading this Brotherhood Harlem, is also a blind man. So there is there is a symbolism of this blindness. But let's go further.